What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, Talking Beauties, episode 184, the Core 4 Plus weekly news. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the World Cup because spots are filling up for 2026. Plus, we got a lot of NHL firsts coming from the rookies and MLB playoff talk to discuss. But first, let's head to the NFL. So we'll start this one off in the NFL. We got a little bit of roster news before we talk about the scores from Week 6. Fred Warner from San Francisco done for the season with a broken and dislocated ankle. He will need surgery. Just another injury to this list for the Niners. Not a good look for them. I'm curious how they're going to be able to get a new guy to step up in Fred Warner's place. Defensive captain, big guy in that locker room. Detroit's Brian Branch is suspended 1 game with no pay for unsportsmanlike conduct after the Sunday Night Football game with Kansas City. Cleveland announced that they have reached an agreement with the city to buy out for their stadium location and move the stadium to a new $2.4 billion stadium in Brook Park, which is about 20 minutes away from the current spot that Cleveland plays. Sounds like it's going to be about a $100 million payout from the Browns and the city of Cleveland. All that money going back to the city. Good for them. It sounds like a lot of people are just kind of impartial about it, especially if you're not a Cleveland fan. When it comes to the Cleveland fans, I really don't know if they want this or they're excited about this. I heard some people saying it's good. Some people just really are impartial to it. But I guess we'll see how this is going to work out. But Cleveland will be moving to a new stadium in about 2029. All right, let's head into score recaps from Week 6. We had some really good score lines here. Philadelphia and the Giants played on Thursday night. Giants winning that one 34-17. Niners lose to the Buccaneers 19-30. Denver beats the Jets in London 13-11. Arizona loses to Indianapolis 27-31. The Chargers win over Miami on the road 29-27. New England beats the Saints 25-19. The Browns lose to the Steelers 9-23. The Cowboys lose to the Panthers 27-30. Seattle beats Jacksonville 20-12. The Rams beat the Ravens 17-3. Ravens again without Lamar Jackson. Will not expect him to start this upcoming week, but I guess he still is questionable for the weekend. Still not very good. Baltimore dropping to 1-5. Tennessee lost to Vegas 10-20. Brian Callahan fired after that game. 4-17 record over the last 2 years in Tennessee. Not a good look, but honestly not a very good team to coach. Not a good roster there in Tennessee. Cincinnati lost to Green Bay 27-18. Detroit lost to Kansas City 17-30. Chicago ended up winning on Monday night against Washington 25-24. A walk-off field goal by Jake Moody. Buffalo lost on the road to Atlanta 24-14. But before we get into Week 7 matchups and picks, we're going to talk a little bit about the Weeks 1 through 6 season recap, giving you the standings, expectations, rest of the year, things like that. We'll start off in the AFC. The East, as the leader, New England at 4-2, Buffalo at 4-2, Miami at 1-5, the Jets at 0-6. We head to the north. Pittsburgh at 4-1, then Cincinnati at 2-4, Baltimore at 1-5, Cleveland at 1-5. Very surprising that this division is this bad. Obviously, injuries to quarterbacks for Cincinnati and Baltimore really kind of put them in the bad light here, but really surprising that we're not seeing a higher race at the top here with Pittsburgh. The South, Indianapolis at 5-1, Jacksonville 4-2, Houston at 2-3, and Tennessee at 1-5. And heading to the West, the Chargers at 4-2, the Broncos at 4-2, the Chiefs at 3-3, the Raiders at 2-4. Now we head to the NFC East. Philadelphia at 4-2, Washington at 3-3, Dallas at 2-3-1, and the Giants at 2-4. We head to the North. Green Bay at 3-1-1, Detroit at 4-2, Minnesota at 3-2, and Chicago at 3-2. A very good division this year. The South, Tampa Bay 5-1, Atlanta 3-2, Carolina 3-3, New Orleans at 1-5. And lastly, the West, San Francisco at 4-2, Seattle at 4-2, LA at 4-2, Arizona at 2-4. Another very good division coming out of the West. Now, let's look into some just kind of questions that I had that I just thought I would answer here. The best division so far in football. It's between two. It's the NFC North and the NFC West. I would say a little bit leaning towards the North because everybody's above 500. The worst record at 3-2 with Chicago and Minnesota, but they're 1 game or half a game behind Detroit and 1 game behind Green Bay, both of those guys. The West, everyone's 4-2 besides Arizona at 2-4, and I think all teams really have a capability to win this division. So I think either of those divisions are the best right now, but I will give it to the NFC North just slightly. Biggest surprise of the season, Indianapolis obviously has to be a surprise. I don't think a lot of people thought Daniel Jones was going to be able to do what he's doing right now with the Colts. Colts roster, honestly not that bad. Jonathan Taylor not playing all that great, but it's really all come down to Daniel Jones in that offense right now. Overall, looking very good. So Indianapolis has to be one of the biggest surprise right now. Cam Skattebo and Jackson Dart, ever since they've started playing together in New York, really good stuff has been happening. Really awesome offense, an electric, fun offense to watch right now. Obviously, being an Arizona State fan, I know Cam Skattebo. For those 2 years he was at Arizona State, he did everything for that team. And you look at him right now in the Giants organization. I'm very excited for him. Can't wait to see what happens next. Very surprised to see his success with Jackson Dart, though. And last one, Kansas City. Kansas City just really not playing all that well. Overall, just not really all that great. They're at 500, 3-3 for the first 6 weeks of the year. Yes, injuries. Yes, suspensions. Yes, penalties and things like that hold each other back. But Kansas City, honestly, I think should be a little bit worse. There's been penalties going their way that I have changed games. So I would say the Chiefs are definitely one of those teams that I'm just very surprised are not doing very well. But again, they're the Chiefs. I'm still not going to rule them out, even at 3-3. Biggest disappointments this year, Baltimore has to be one of those. I mean, obviously injuries arising, and Cincinnati's right up there as well. Injuries to both Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are really causing these teams to lose and be way below 500. But when you look at Cincinnati, they have a very good offensive roster. Yes, the line is not that great, but they just can't seem to find the ball, get the ball to Jamar Chase. They can't run the ball very well. When you look at Baltimore, just overall, they're just really quiet. No one's talking about them. The defense is awful, where a lot of people thought defense is going to be the best in the league, potentially. They're one of the worst defenses right now as a whole. So Baltimore and Cincinnati definitely got to be out there. The last one, the Jets. I mean, the Jets can't score. They actually had a 45-yard pass against the Broncos, or at least Justin Fields did, but he was sacked for minus 55 yards. So that's a net passing yards of -10. So not good for the Jets. They're wasting Garrett Wilson. I don't know if Garrett Wilson will be traded, but I figure they're definitely going to have to try and shop him around, or at least some teams are definitely going to talk about if he's on the market. A couple not surprising efforts so far through 6 weeks. Tampa Bay leading the way in a weak division is not surprising for me at all. I think Tampa Bay is actually really good, and they have a lot of injuries, and yet they're still winning. Only one loss through this point. I think Tampa Bay is definitely winning the South, and I think there's a great chance that Tampa Bay is actually a team to be reckoned with when it comes to the playoffs. So watch out for the Buccaneers. And the last one, the AFC North outside of Pittsburgh not being competitive. When you look at the rosters right now, yes, it's not very surprising. The only thing that is surprising is expectations preseason to what it is right now. But when you look at it, yes, it's not surprising that Cleveland's bad. It's not surprising that Baltimore is bad, and it's not surprising that Cincinnati is bad. I know I'd said those are my biggest disappointments and a little bit of a surprise there, but because of those injuries, it's just they don't have much more depth-wise to help themselves out. So outside of Pittsburgh, the NFC North not being competitive is not a big surprise for me. Now, of the teams that are 500 or worse, who is most likely to turn around and get into that positive season, maybe making the playoffs or just missing the playoffs? I think it has to make sense that everyone says Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City is one of those teams where you don't want to go against Patrick Mahomes, yet you kind of have a feeling he might lose a game, but you don't want to truly pick against Patrick Mahomes because it's Kansas City, because it's Patrick Mahomes. He's a special player. I think him and his team has to be one of the top potentially turn it around for the rest of the season. The other one, who is my dark horse, is the Giants. I think what they're doing with Jackson Dart, Cam Skattebo is very surprising and it's exciting. I think the division right now is not all that great. Dallas doesn't look all that great. They have to score a lot. Their defense is awful. Philly has had some shakeups. They're 4-2, yes, but they've been struggling a little bit. And Washington, still to me, are they going to be good or are they going to be bad? They're right at 3-3, 500 right there. So I think that's my dark horse, the Giants, but I would not be surprised to see the Chiefs get into that playoff spot again. So those are my two teams most likely to turn around for the rest of the year. And the most likely to turn for the worst of the 500 or better teams, I got the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, I'm a Niner fan, so I watch this team very closely. And seeing all the injuries pile up for this team, is sooner or later, the loss is just going to look worse and worse. Yes, they're coming off a loss to Tampa Bay. They lose Fred Warner for the year. The whole situation with Mac Jones being a quarterback is not that bad, but now Mac Jones doesn't have a lot to choose from when it comes to receiving core. Christian McCaffrey is still there, but it really is just a matter of time that McCaffrey probably gets injured. I don't want to see it, obviously, but it's just the reality of it. I think the San Francisco 49ers are most likely to go from good to worse for the rest of the season. Now, let's head into Week 7 matchups. We got a lot of teams to talk about. Buffalo and Baltimore are the only two teams on a bye this week. So let's head into the Thursday game. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I got the Steelers winning big in this one. Cincinnati's pretty damn bad. Joe Flacco might be able to turn it around this week, but I really don't think so. Give me the Steelers in that one. The Rams versus the Jaguars. Give me the Rams. I really like the Rams. I actually don't mind the Jaguars either, but I really like what the Rams are doing. Puka Nacua is still questionable, though, with his injury. Hopefully he does play, but it's going to be interesting. Also, that one is in London, so maybe give a little edge to the London Jaguars. They always seem to be playing overseas, but regardless, should be a pretty good game. Two good teams there. New Orleans versus Chicago. The Saints are awful. Give me the Bears winning that one. They get another big win. They jump up to 4-2 with that victory. Miami versus Cleveland. I think Dylan Gabriel gets the job done here. He gets his first win at the helm at the starter spot. Give me the Browns winning that one at home. The Patriots and the Titans. Titans don't have anything to play for. Patriots, top of the division right now. I got the Patriots winning that one. Vegas versus KC. I got the Chiefs winning this one. They're at home. I think it could be a close game, but give me the Chiefs. Eagles and Vikings. I got the Eagles winning this one. Again, another close game. I think the Vikings put up a good fight, but I got the Eagles getting it in the second half. Panthers and the Jets. Panthers look pretty solid overall, but the Jets, I don't really know what to expect from them. So I'm going to take the Panthers. I think it's going to be a close game at first, but I think the second half is going to go Panthers' way. Giants versus Broncos. Everyone's probably going to say Broncos. I'm going Giants. They're my surprise team. I love Cam Scatterboo. I'm really liking Jackson Dart right now. Give me the Giants on the road victory there. Colts, Bolts. I got the Chargers in this one. They're the home team. Really good right now. I think Daniel Jones doesn't slow down, but I think it's just going to come down to one possession. I think the Chargers get that last possession there. Washington, Dallas. Both teams kind of shaky. I'm going to go Dallas winning this one at home over the Commanders. Green Bay versus Arizona. I'm going Arizona. I really like the West right now. I think Green Bay might struggle against the Cardinals. Atlanta versus San Francisco. Atlanta coming off a big win against Buffalo on Monday night. San Francisco losing a lot to injuries. This is the Sunday Night Football game. I'm going with the 49ers, but I'm not confident in that pick. We head to Monday, Tampa Bay versus Detroit. I'm going Tampa. I really like Baker Mayfield over the Lions there. In Houston versus Seattle, I'm going with the home team. Give me the Seahawks in that game. All right, let's head to the MLB where we'll talk a little bit about the ALDS, Detroit versus Seattle. That game 5 ended in 15 innings. This is the longest postseason game in Detroit Tiger history, and that's franchise started back in 1907, which is actually very surprising that 15 innings is the longest they've ever played. Unfortunate news, though, between those two squads. Torkelson and Suarez were the only players to not reach safely. It's the first time since 2022's the ALDS. Game 3, where Jose Altuve and Adam Frazier both did not reach base in at least 6+ plate attempts. So, not really good for either of those guys. Obviously, Seattle did win that one on a walk-off single by Jorge Polanco in the 15th. We head to a little bit of manager news. San Diego's Mike Shildt announces his retirement. Young manager, kind of surprising, but I'm curious what San Diego is going to do when it comes to searching for a manager. And Philadelphia announced that Rob Thompson, their manager, will return in 2026. So hopefully he brings some success back to Philadelphia there. Now let's head to the championship series. ALCS, both games started in Toronto. Both games went Seattle's way. A 3-1 and a 10-3 victory for the Mariners. Honestly, did not expect game 1 to go Seattle's way. After that 15-inning game, they used a lot of pitchers. Did not think pitching was going to be the thing to win that game for them, and it ended up being just the case. So Seattle looks great going back home, and I think there's a great chance that Seattle probably wins 2 of the next 3 and keeps it in Seattle and goes on to the World Series for the American League. Now we have for the NLCS, Dodgers, Milwaukee. Milwaukee hosting the first 2. Dodgers winning the first 2, though, on the road. A 2-1 and 5-1 victory. Both starting pitchers for the Dodgers. Blake Snell going 8 innings. Yoshinobu Yamamoto going 9 in Game 1 and Game 2. Looked outstanding. The bullpen, again, though, struggling for the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki came in for the save for Game 1. Ended up giving up a couple walks and a run. Blake Trinan came in and was, I guess you could say, lights out. He only pitched 1 out. Finally got the job done, though. Dodgers won the Game 1 after Snell's performance. Yamamoto out the first pitch of the game. Jackson Chourio hit a home run. After that, shut down from Yamamoto. 5-1 victory for the Dodgers. He pitched that complete game as well. So both series going back home to the teams that are up 2-0. I expect both those teams to win it in 5 games. I don't think the Dodgers are going to have to go back to Milwaukee. As long as starting pitching is killing it, I think the Dodgers are going to smoke Milwaukee. For Seattle, I could see them losing Game 3, but coming back winning Game 4 and Game 5. So I think both teams are going to win in 5 games, and we're going to have Seattle versus LA in the championship games. All right, we head to the NHL. Not a lot to talk about. Obviously, we had our first full week of the NHL season, but we have a lot of rookies doing new things for the first time ever. The New York Islanders first round pick Matthew Schaefer becomes the youngest defenseman in NHL history to earn a point in his debut. He got an assist against Pittsburgh, and not long after, he got his first goal a few nights later in Washington. So congrats to Schaefer on both those milestones there. We head to Anaheim. Beckett Seneca scored his first NHL goal against Seattle on opening night. So that's big for Anaheim there to get Seneca on the board. He's actually looked really good the first couple games of the year too. And Pittsburgh's Harrison Brennecke, I think is how you say it, becomes the first South African-born skater to score in the NHL. We've only had 2 South African players in the NHL. The first one being the old Washington goaltender, which I can't think of his last name, but it's Olaf or something like that. Obviously, he did not score. So Pittsburgh's Harrison Brennecke scored his first NHL goal and the first South African goal in NHL history. So congrats to him. And a quick injury. The Devils announced that Jacob Markstrom will be out a couple of weeks due to an injury that he sustained last night. We don't know what he did injury-wise, but it sounds like it's not good. And hopefully Jake Allen can step up and be that guy for the Devils and at least keep him afloat until Markstrom comes back. All right, let's head to the cleanup now. We'll talk about World Cup qualifiers. We have a lot of teams that have officially qualified for the 2026 World Cup. Algeria being the first time since 2014. Ghana coming back in here, most likely will face the United States somehow in that World Cup, because it always seems to happen, the U.S. and Ghana playing against each other. Cape Verde gets into their first ever World Cup, the second smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup, so congrats to them. South Africa, first time since hosting back in 2010. Qatar's back-to-back years. Ivory Coast, their first time since 2014. Saudi Arabia for their 3rd straight, and Senegal for their 3rd straight World Cup. Plus, lastly, England is back in there. Not very surprised that England is in there, but obviously had to include them because they just got qualified for the World Cup. So I think we're almost halfway, or right around that halfway mark of the amount of teams that will be in the World Cup. So definitely is wrapping up very quickly, and I'm very excited to see who the rest of these nations are, especially because UEFA teams have not officially all qualified yet. I think England is like the first or second team to qualify out of UEFA, so I'm curious to see on any special crazy teams to make it in and some teams that will not. One I'm definitely circling, Italy. Will Italy make the World Cup? But only time will tell. We will come back to that at a different time. U.S. men's national team goalkeeper and Atlanta United goalkeeper Brad Guzan announced that he will retire at the end of the season. Guzan played a long time. I think back in 2006, he made his MLS debut with Chivas USA. Bounced around a lot, came back to the States at the end of his career, and has been in Atlanta ever since. Won an MLS Cup there. Went to the World Cup, I think, 3 times, definitely twice. I think there was 3 times though. Played with the U.S. team for a long time. Definitely what I know him as. So congrats on a great career, Brad Guzan. The Cleveland Cavaliers announced that they will bring back the mid-2000s uniform that LeBron James wore his first couple seasons as an alternate for this upcoming year. Honestly, I really like the uniform. I think the collar and the cuffing on it is definitely interesting, but it is an exact replica of the original. I think throwbacks are an awesome bring back as an alternate kind of look for a lot of teams in a lot of different leagues. So really good decision here. 8.5 out of 10 for me for Cleveland. Great job bringing him back. Sacramento announced that Russell Westbrook has agreed to a contract. We do not know the terms yet, but Sacramento and Westbrook are together again. And lastly, Mercedes announced that George Russell and Kimi Antonelli will be back for next season as their drivers. There was a lot of talk about potentially new drivers, but in my opinion, I did not think they were going a different route. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli will be back together as teammates. All right, let's head to the games of the weekend. We'll start off in the NHL. The Bruins versus the Avalanche. That's Saturday at 6 p.m. NFL, I got the Bolts versus the Colts. Bolts hosting that one on Sunday, 1:05 p.m. on CBS. And lastly, MLB, NLCS, and ALCS, Game 5 and Game 6, Saturday and Sunday at 5 o'clock, either TBS or FS1. So make sure you guys check that out. All right, guys, that will do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. 184 episodes in the books. We appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys are notified when episodes like this drop. Plus, help us expand out to new horizons and new audiences. Make sure you guys check out the socials. I'm really trying to get back into it. I always say I do, but I actually will be trying to get back into it. So make sure you guys check out the socials, share it, tell other people about it. Even if you're not a huge fan of it, just let them know. Say, hey, check this guy out. It helps me go a long way. So I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you guys have some awesome weekend and watch some sports. We'll see you guys next week.